But my oldest daughter is the only one of my kids who served a mission. She initially did not intend to serve a mission, but they lowered the age right when she was at that age.
Right.
And, so of course I hoped that she would serve a mission. Every Mormon parent wants that for their kids because they know that it like solidifies your faith. In other words, like indoctrinates your kids further, makes it harder for them to leave. But I, as a Mormon mom, of course, wanted that for my daughter. And, she actually did a nannying job where she saved a lot of her own money to pay for her mission. But then a lot of our ward members also donated towards her mission, like specifically for her. And they always put it in our ward bulletin, like the little program they hand out every Sunday of who was serving a mission and where. And so if you wanted to make a donation specifically towards that missionary, you could. And then also just, our bishop was aware that we didn't have a lot of money, and he, I think would ask certain ward members who liked donating towards other people's missions. He would ask them if they would donate towards her mission. So a lot of her mission was paid for by my parents and by my ward members and by other people who wanted to support her. So
to be clear, Megan, I just want to make this plain and simple. People were paying tithing, which is supposedly used for missionary efforts in temple building and helping the poor and needy, right? And then additionally asked for donations to help your daughter serve a mission, which was doing work for the church. So the ward members were basically crowdfunding your daughter to go and work for the church when they have $300 billion in stock and investments, just to be crystal clear.
Kirsten, yes, that is mostly correct. So yes, these people were paying tithing, and in addition, they were donating more than their 10% to pay for my daughter to go serve a mission, to pay her living expenses while she was working for the church full-time for free.
So she could recruit more members who also would pay tithing.
Yes.
Okay, just to be crystal clear.
So it is a little bit like an MLM.
A little bit?
It's a lot bit like an MLM, where instead of getting a paycheck, you just get blessings from the Lord. You pay into the system and then you get credits kind of on the back end.
Stupid.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan.
And I'm Kirsten.
And together we are Blathering Apostate Atheist Airheads. Also known as ex-Mormon snark.
We're spilling all the tea in our testimonies. We know all those things, right?
Yeah.
But literally, I love that so much. As you can see from Megan's shirt, that's going to be on our merch site soon, if not already. It's Shopify, myshopify.exmormonsnark.com or something. It's linked below. But yes, if you don't know the lore behind this, we had a hate comment that said that we should be called the Blatherings of the Apostate Atheist Airheads. And frankly, I own that title. That's what I am. And if you enjoy our blatherings, welcome. Today, we're talking about the missionaries, a little bit about the mission handbook. Megan had a daughter who served a mission. We're going to hear the experience of what it's like to be a parent of a missionary. It's just going to be all of the behind the doors, MTC handbook, all of the things. And also, hopefully, this will kind of give you an empathetic look at them. So if you do happen to come across the missionaries, just remember that they are a cult within a cult. These are very young people who have perhaps never lived away from home, most likely have never lived away from home now that they've lowered the age to 18 for both men and women. It's just, these are literal children going out in the world with truly no education on church history, no understandings, really, in my opinion, of what they're teaching. They're given a script, literally, of what to say. And if there's any questions on that, just remember you're having a conversation with a child. I guess that's my opening to all of that.
And also, I say this very often as well. Most of them are under incredible pressure from their families and from their communities to go on a mission. It is expected. And many Mormon parents, especially those from my parents' generation, will attach monetary compensation to going on a mission. Or, go on a mission, we'll buy you a car, or go on a mission, we'll pay for the rest of your college, or
that's what I heard a lot.
Variety of those things. And I think I've shared before that my son-in-law, had that experience for sure. Like his parents, tied a lot of things to him going on a mission. So he revealed to me, recently that he didn't really believe all the stuff, but he knew he had to serve a mission regardless. So,
it's funny that you say that part, because I was talking to a good friend recently that like this past week recently that had talked about how her neighbor's child was serving a mission, and they said, if you serve a mission, we will pay for your college. So this is not something that we're just like making up to be like, no, this literally, it was like on Monday, I had a conversation with this person. So it's still happening. And it's just another way to control, whether they realize it or not. Maybe it's just because I've left the church, but I just hear a lot of stories of people that suffered immensely from serving a mission.
Yeah, definitely. And my daughter certainly was one of those. Like her mental health really, she struggled with her mental health a lot when she was on the mission. She ended up coming home a little bit early because of that. And that's not uncommon. And also what is really unfortunate is that a lot of mission presidents will just tell somebody, if they're suffering from depression, they will just tell them that they're not being faithful enough, or they're not working hard enough, and that they need to do more, and they need to double down, or else, they're going to keep suffering. So they're like, your depression will go away if you just pray more, and work harder. And that's like, that seems to be the solution. It's just like, always just work harder.
There's a scripture in the Book of Mormon that says, Adam fell that man might be, and men are that they might have joy. Mormons truly have that toxic positivity mindset that if you're being faithful and doing all the right things, there's no reason why you shouldn't be happy. But also I wanted to talk about not only mental health issues, although I do feel like that is very much a huge part of it. There are people that come home that have suffered physically. I want to talk a little bit about one of my really, really close friends in the church. She has since left as well. Talked about, we would go on walks together. We had babies around the same time, and we would walk together, go to the gym together. And often she would have to stop or end early because she had suffered a fracture in her foot from her mission.
Wow.
And it never truly fully healed. She'd gone to multiple doctors. She had worn casts. She had said it's never fully healed. And she has a hairline fracture in her foot that she is most likely going to live with for the rest of her life. I just wanted to point out that not only does their mental health suffer, but truly they can have physical things that affect the entire rest of their life.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is the Mormons will be like, well, it's worth it. You're working for God. I would beg to differ. If I wasn't able to walk for extended periods of time for the rest of my life, I might say it's not worth it, especially if you leave the church. Can you imagine having that on, like, I don't know. That's all I had to say about that, I guess.
I mean, yes. There are so many people who suffer on the mission, and their suffering does not end when the mission is over. So let's say that. Also, Kirsten, I can reveal to you, I just recently found out. Is
this prophetic?
No, this is not a prophetic revelation. It is the revelation of a practice that I would like to expose. I know somebody who is currently taking the missionary discussions. And they have revealed to me that the missionaries use an app to keep track of their door knocking. Yeah. Now, I will just show you. I downloaded a similar app. It's not the same app because this is an app that was developed specifically by the church for use by the missionaries, but it's very similar to this. Here's a map.
Surprise.
Yes. Here is a map of a portion of San Antonio.
Correct.
And if
Okay.
we zoom into a neighborhood,
yes,
we can see all the street names and there are all the houses in the neighborhood.
Oh,
okay?
A nice little like Google image map view or something.
Exactly. If we zoom in even more, each of these houses has a little circle on the house with a name on the house.
With a name? Oh, that feels so like intrusive.
It is very intrusive, and I will just tell you guys right now, you should go have all your stuff, your information removed from everything, because here is what is also terrifying. When I click on the name, when I click on the circle that's above the house, it has a name of the homeowner.
Yeah.
It tells me their first and last name, sometimes even their phone number and their email address. Also, whether or not they own the home or whether they're a renter, and their credit score.
What?
Yes. This is an app. So the one that I downloaded, this is an app that salespeople use when they go door to door, like when they're selling solar or anything else. Okay.
Which the missionaries or return missionaries love doing door to door sales. Like, love it.
Pest control. Almost every pest control door-to-door sales thing is a Mormon company. When I click on this, there's a way for me to mark the door. For example, I can mark it with a red X to say this person was not interested. Or I can mark it with a little green calendar icon to say I set an appointment at this place. Or I can mark it with a lead or with a fire thing to say that they're a hot lead, or a little pink arrow to say I need to follow up. Anyway, there are lots of ways you can mark this. The reason they do this is the new version of the quote unquote area book that the missionaries used to keep, where they would keep track of every single door that got knocked. They would keep track of every appointment, every person that said yes or no, everything. They keep track of all of this electronically now, so that when the new missionaries come into the area, they will see what doors have already been knocked, who was responsive and who was not. I guarantee I've got my name in there and it's marked with a not home because I'm almost never home when they show up.
We've talked about this before. I sent a cease and desist to the church. Missionaries have not come to my door since I've done that.
There you go.
I obviously must be on their app or whatever that says do not knock on this door.
So when I was serving as a ward missionary, which a ward missionary is somebody who doesn't leave their home, but I was teaching lessons to new members. So I would go into their home once a week and teach them a lesson so that they would, become indoctrinated into Mormonism. But as a ward missionary, we were given a list of people who were on the do not contact list because they didn't want us inadvertently, knocking on the doors of these people who had been asked not to be contacted by the church. So they keep a list of those people. So I'm sure you're on the do not contact list.
Oh, I must be. Yeah. Which I'm not mad about. Okay.
But part of the reason that we decided to talk about this today is because we wanted to talk about the Missionaries' Little White Book.
Yes.
If you ever happen to be with some missionaries, you can ask them, do you have your little white book with you? They are supposed to carry it with them at all times, along with their scriptures. Many of them may have it in electronic format now. Lots of missionaries carry iPads or other types of devices like that. But they are required to have this with them. It is the rule book by which missionaries must follow all of these rules while they're on the mission. And it's quite extensive. We actually have it on the LDS.org website. You can look it up if you want to. But this is how the missionaries are supposed to do. And then they're supposed to study this little white book every day.
Yep.
Along with the scriptures. So missionaries get study time every morning. They're supposed to get up at 6 o'clock every morning. they're supposed to exercise, and they're supposed to have personal study time and then companion study time with their, missionary partner. And then they go out to start knocking doors. Yes.
This is something that even when I was a member of the church, I found very weird.
Yeah.
Was that they set aside exercise time specifically, maybe for weightlifting or whatever, because they track so much, which is on foot. I mean, there are ones that ride a bike. There are ones that have a car, but you are still walking a significant amount of time. Yes. You can't tell me after a while that can't be good for your body. I mean, if you get too much in a calorie deficit, which a lot of these places, especially in more underdeveloped countries, you don't have the best nutrition available, and they give you a very small, in my opinion, a very small stipend for food.
Yes.
How is that good for your body? Like, truly, I mean, I saw missionaries come home that looked so incredibly thin. It was disturbing.
Yes.
But yet they set aside exercise time in the morning. I don't know. That's just one thing that was a pet peeve for mine. Again, even when I was a true believing Mormon, I thought that doesn't sound healthy for how much they walk already.
The cost of going on a mission, for those who don't know, is $450 a month. They made it universal across all the missions a while back, because it used to be like if you were going someplace like Japan, it was really expensive. If you were going someplace like Africa, it was cheap. So they made it a flat fee. But of that $450, that goes towards, housing and transportation, whatever. So they only get something like $150 a month to spend on food and toiletries and other necessities. So I remember when my daughter was going.
Which includes clothes. I mean, their shoes wear out.
Yes.
And if your family can't afford to mail you stuff, when my sister was on our mission, my mom would send her new shoes or a new coat or something like that. She didn't have the money.
They send you a whole list before you go on your mission of what you should bring with you. How many shirts, how many skirts, how many pairs of shoes, your own linens, your bed sheets, all that kind of stuff. So they send you that whole list. So you have to go out and buy all of that stuff before you go on the mission. And then you have to pay a monthly fee. And yes, that $150 a month or whatever includes replacing shoes when needed, or replacing glasses, or buying prescriptions, or, paying for all your food, your toiletries, toothpaste, everything. And it's not enough by the longest stretch. Like, I was constantly having to put money on my daughter's card so that she could afford to buy things. And I remember her telling me things like, this week we wanted a little treat for ourselves. And so we went and got ice cream, and it was like the rest of our money for the week. And so then we had to make sure that we had members to feed us. I'm like, okay, so you each spent less than $10 on an ice cream, and that was the rest of your food money for the whole week. And it was like a Wednesday or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. But also as the parent of a missionary, we got told all the time that God would just take care of them, like not to worry about them, because God would provide everything they needed. And if he didn't, then, send them a little money.
It's interesting how much we heard that as well. Like, I was at home. I heard the things they would say to my parents, about the mission and everything, and saying that God would always take care of it. I had a cousin who was held at gunpoint and put in jail in Ukraine when the mission had when the mission was brand new, and he was told by his mission president not to tell his family specifically. I think I've shared this story before, but if not, now it's here. And he came home. We had a dinner together, and he shared that story, and he was just looking down, and he said it just like, things like that happened. And then he was like, anyways, and all of us were like, what? And you cannot tell me that he didn't have some sort of like PTSD or something from that. And I cannot believe that I guess I can. That his mission president specifically told him, do not tell your family this happened.
Yeah, that's really
because they knew that any parent would be like, come home. Like, don't let that happen. And he was in jail for multiple days. It was not just like, an overnight thing. It ended up being like, they were like, oh, there was a confusion, whatever BS they made up at the time. But anyways, it's just interesting that the church keeps saying God will take care of them. These are real things that happen on missions,
Yes.
and it is not something that God just takes care of. These individuals come home, think about it, knowing that you're hiding a secret from your family, that you went through something traumatic, which I'm sure the first thing you want to do is call your mom. I know I would.
Yes.
And being told not to, can you imagine how lonely that would feel to keep that inside?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely, 100%. Not only that,
anyways,
but like, so they're a lot more liberal now with allowing missionaries to call their families, but it used to
right.
be that it was only on Christmas and Mother's Day. So while
That
my
was
daughter
it.
was on her mission, I only got to speak to her 3 times. The first Christmas she was out, Mother's Day, and the next Christmas she was out. But they also would write a letter once a week. They were allowed to, on
Yeah.
their prep day, once a week, they get time to like do their laundry and their grocery shopping, and they can write letters to their family. So I would get an email from her once a week that would tell, all the things she was doing during the week. So can you imagine getting that email and being like, so I spent a few days in jail this week. They're allowed to write home once a week. And I knew my daughter was only allowed to read emails from me during that P day once a week. And so every Sunday, I was the primary pianist at the time. So I would, which was my favorite job in the church. I would,
Me too.
I would play the piano for the primary kids. And then while the person was giving the big lesson or whatever, I would take that time to write an email to my daughter. So I made sure I was writing her every single week.
Yeah.
But it was really hard because it's like there were some things that I couldn't talk about with her on email because I didn't want to worry her. And there are some things that you don't want to say over email because it's like you don't want to tell them shocking stuff that they are going to need to process. And like she would have wanted to pick up the phone and call me. So there was a lot of stuff that went on while she was gone that we just weren't able to talk about or process through. So it was hard for, all of us to have her missing basically from our family. I have a picture at Christmas time of all my kids in their pajamas on Christmas Eve holding a picture of their sister. And it just still makes me so sad to think about,
I mean, think about the people that miss weddings and funerals and, milestones in their family because of this. It reminded me because I had a neighbor who owned a printing business. And when their son served a mission, they printed a cardboard cutout, this right height and everything, and put him in all the wedding photos for their daughter. And so this cardboard cutout was in it, and everyone thought it was so funny, myself included. And now looking back, I'm like, how freaking sad was that?
Yes.
Knowing that you're encouraged to only write positive things feels so inauthentic, which goes back to that toxic positivity. There's a whole 1.5 to 2 years where you're not being fully authentic with a member in your family, just sugarcoating every single thing. And I don't know, that bothers me in such a huge way.
Yeah. I mean, you're not being authentic with anyone because there's nobody that you can talk to when you're having negative experiences because they encourage the missionaries to only write about positive things as well.
That's true.
Yes. And so they're being inauthentic for the entire time that they're gone because, you can talk to your mission president, but if you become known as like the problem missionary who always needs to talk to the mission president, then that's not a good thing. Or the problem companion, like my companion's always complaining about how sad they are. Then, you get transferred or you become an issue or whatever. Like it's such a bad thing for mental health. And it teaches the missionaries to repress their true feelings and to not talk about negative things, which sets you up for a lot of toxicity in your future life,
Absolutely.
So let us talk a little bit about the Little White Book. Now we're not going to go through the whole entire thing because it's extensive.
It's huge. Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and share.
I want you guys to see how specific it is and how much they really are like trying to nail down every single question that you might have and what to do, just so incredibly high control. I think this is the best way to really see how much the mission just controls your every movement, your every thought, your every decision. You have no autonomy at all on the mission specifically. It's already like that in Mormonism, but the mission double, triple, quadruples down on all of that messaging.
Yeah. So again, this used to be a literal white book that they carried with them. And so at the top, at the beginning of it is in case of emergency, they write their name, who to call in case of an emergency, that they're a citizen of what nation, their passport number, if they have an ongoing health concern, their blood type, their medications, and their allergies.
I love that they only have diabetes and epilepsy as the check marks, and then other.
Or other.
Like how many other many other illnesses could be like a problem? Also, if you have epilepsy, do you think serving a mission is the best idea? Like, I just want to put it out there.
You know, Kirsten, they tell people that if you serve a mission, then all of your health concerns will be cured.
Can you imagine? Let me just be a jerk for a second. Can you imagine taking a missionary discussion and you're like, and then Joseph saw the light. And they're like, oh my God, exorcism.
Oh my God. Oh, that would be awful.
Anyways, that was my snark coming out.
Yeah.
But you guys signed up for this. Ex-Mormon snark, what the hell do you think you were going to get? Okay,
there you go.
Let's move on.
100%. You saw the title of the channel. You knew what you were getting into.
You know.
Anyway, there's a message from the first presidency that tells the missionaries that by serving a mission with all their heart, then they help fulfill the two great commandments to love the Lord and to love your neighbor. Basically.
Right.
And then it says, these missionary standards are approved by the first presidency and quorum of the 12 apostles. They will help protect you physically, spiritually, and emotionally. What? And help you be the disciple Jesus Christ needs you to become.
I feel like that's almost tongue-in-cheek because it's like, you'll be fine.
And then it says, if you have questions about a standard, prayerfully ask the Lord to help you understand its importance. And then, if needed, ask your companion, your young missionary leaders, or either of your mission leaders for help.
Please remember that all of these leaders are between the ages of 18 and 20. So in my opinion, that attracts some patriarchal and or narcissistic behavior. Whereas you've got an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old holding power over another person that is coming to them with earnest help. I don't know. That all feels very yucky to me. Of course, they can go to their mission president, because as you can see from here, it literally says, go to your companion, your younger missionary leaders, and then your mission leaders. So there is still a hierarchy in the mission field of who they want you to talk to. So particularly if you were a young woman going to an 18-year-old boy for advice, like, give me a freaking break. Like,
absolutely
fuck that
not.
Shit.
Yes, these young men are to put it in the words of a friend of mine, they're just like wet little baby birds.
Exactly.
They're helpless and they don't know anything. So
well,
Kirsten,
I think also that sets them up to have that patriarchal order. It literally is like, well, I was a leader on my mission. I don't know about you, since you were already, married and everything, but I dated many guys at BYU that their leading topic was, well, I was AP on my mission, which means assistant to the president, which literally means you're the top of the missionaries. And they'd always be like, well, I was an AP. And they were so like, I don't think we should do this, or we should do this. I dated a guy that wanted to begin every date with a prayer. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, we're going bowling. I don't need to pray about that.
I just wanted to back up a little to say that, like, if you were the assistant to the president, it was basically your job to police the behavior of the other missionaries. Like,
correct.
You were supposed to check in with your AP every night before you went to bed to make sure that you were in your apartment by the appointed time, all of that stuff. So that's basically an AP was basically the nosy neighbor, the neighborhood watch person, like the tattletale, the snitch,
HOA,
the HOA president.
Right.
My apologies to any HOA presidents who are not a-holes.
Anyway. No, they are. They are. I'm putting it out there with my full chest. If you're an HOA president, I like the weeds in my yard. I'm just kidding.
This is one of the reasons, Kirsten, why people always hate it. Well, I should say when Mormons always hate it when we talk about checking boxes, because it says when seen from an eternal perspective, your full-time mission is an experience, is more than a checkbox to be marked off. It is a means to continue becoming a lifelong disciple of Jesus Christ.
Lifelong disciple. Great. Yeah. I mean, they said the quiet thing out loud, I guess.
Yeah. So it's no secret that the Mormon Church values obedience over everything else. And the mission is one of those places that you're supposed to learn exact obedience brings blessings. That's what brings miracles. So obedience brings blessings. Exact obedience brings miracles. That's basically what they teach in this section. Jesus is the example of perfect faithfulness.
Great.
Being faithful and obedient means, sorry.
If he said he is perfect faithfulness, all I hear is it's okay to go and flip tables in the temple.
Yes, okay? It is.
I said what 100%.
I said. Yes. It says being faithful and obedient also means that you try to learn, grow, and improve, correct mistakes quickly, and take personal responsibilities for your actions. That's not a bad thing, but I don't think that the church leaders do any of this. Exactly. They don't correct mistakes quickly, and they don't take personal responsibility for their actions.
Hello, we don't apologize. What does he say? We neither
solicit nor give. We neither solicit nor give apologies.
Okay, interesting, because here it says you do. So which one's right? Is it the prophet? Because the prophet said that.
That's right. But once he dies, though, we don't have to listen to him anymore. So, if it's the words of a dead prophet, then it doesn't matter. The handbook says you will be most safe when you follow the commandments and missionary standards and use common sense, but realize that even when you keep the commandments, you may experience trouble, sickness, or harm. I also here want to mention the super troubling fact that many, many, many young men and women have been killed on their missions.
Yes, and the church covers it up.
Yep.
They cover it up a lot.
Yep.
Also, I want to point out that many women have been SA'd on their mission. I just wanted to make that known that it is not something that stops just because you're on the mission and protected by the Lord. Like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah. So I find this really interesting. It says, God loves you. Choose to keep the commandments because you love God. Do not try to make deals with the Lord and expect specific blessings by adjusting what is required of you. It goes on to say, for example, don't try to bargain with the Lord by getting up earlier, going without food or drink beyond the monthly fast, or skipping a preparation day. Because we all know that one thing that Mormons love to do is to try to Mormon harder than other Mormons. And and missionaries do the same exact thing. They try to missionary harder than other missionaries. So they're like, if fasting one day a month is good, then I'm going to fast this entire week until I get a convert,
Well, not only that, I feel like religious scrupulosity is very attractive in the mission.
Yeah.
I know that if you're having mental health struggles, I listened to a podcast sometime way before. It's probably on Mormon Stories or something. I have no idea. But this was years ago, that talked about that OCD was triggered by the mission.
Yeah.
So, it does set people up to have a lot of issues that would feed into that scrupulosity of, working harder and Mormoning harder, like Megan said.
Yep. Yeah. I just want to mention this little phrase, the righteous use of technology. So don't use technology in unrighteous ways. And we all know, we've seen the surveys of missionaries who said that they viewed pornography on their mission tablet.
Or listen to ex-Mormon podcasts. I've heard that too.
True as well. Yes,
they go there saying, I want to hear what the other side has to say, and then they get converted or converted into not believing the church is true.
Yep. So if you are serving a full-time missionary mission right now, welcome. You're in the right place. We're glad you're here. And if you need help or you need assistance getting home or leaving the mission or leaving the church or any of that stuff, If you need assistance in any way, please email us at lifeafterlds@gmail.com, because there are many people out there who would love to help you if you need help and you can't get the help you need on your mission. The next chapter talks about the organization of the mission and how, living and working with a companion, blah, 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 daily schedule, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, the mission leaders, this part at the second paragraph, share many responsibilities. They will work together to support and encourage you, listen to your concerns, answer your questions, assess progress, give counsel, and all that stuff. Because your mission president has certain priesthood keys, he acts as a common judge in the mission. That literally means he can decide on his own divine intuition or whatever, divine revelation of what to do. And that could be to tell you have to stay. That could send you to a Mormon therapist that's going to convince you to stay. That could be you need to be disfellowshipped. You need to be sent home. It's literally in one person's hand because they have certain priesthood keys, which, by the way, we've talked about this before. I believe, I'm putting on a tinfoil hat so the truth doesn't come from me, that all mission presidents receive the second anointing, which means they can do no wrong. And when you have that magical golden check mark by God that you're automatically in the highest level of celestial kingdom, any thought that you have or any action that you make is correct. And there is no room for nuance because God has already put his stamp of approval on it. To me, that is a very dangerous person to put in charge of children going through
100%.
Mental health struggles or any other struggle, to be honest.
Yeah, for any struggle. I find it really interesting, Kirsten, that right after mentioning that your mission president is a common judge on the mission, immediately they jump into sexual sin.
Yeah, right. Because they're like, that's
transgression
what it is.
And other serious sins should be confessed to your mission president. Be completely honest. He will help you
honest with him.
Yeah.
Will he? Because, I mean, also let's talk about how they do not allow self-pleasure at all. That is something they talk about. Making sure also that your companion is not doing that. And if they are, it is your job, literally, to rat them out because that's not what God wants.
Yes.
He doesn't want your companion to sin. So you have to literally tell on them.
Yes.
And if you don't, you are like equally in trouble because you know what's going on and you didn't say anything.
Yep. This is a recent thing that now missionaries who are being interviewed by the mission president are invited to bring someone with them into the interview, like the mission president's wife or a senior missionary. I think they did this because of some of the SA allegations that have happened.
Yeah.
And it's very much like the bishop's interview, with bishops interviewing children. Thank goodness now the parents can be in the room. And now for missionaries, it's the same thing. So I'm glad that they made this change.
Absolutely. Me too. I didn't know they did it for missionaries as well. So that actually makes me really, really happy.
Yep. Then it talks about how the mission president uses revelation to organize the work by calling or assigning young missionaries to be trainers or senior companions or district leaders, blah, 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 all that stuff. So don't argue because it was a revelation from God to the mission president that you be sent to whatever area or that you have whatever companion.
Megan, isn't it convenient that if anybody pushes against you and you can be like, well, I have the power of the priesthood and God said, like right there, when they say women have access to the priesthood, no, they don't. Because if the mission president's wife had a different revelation, the mission president would trump it because be like, well, you don't have the priesthood. Like we all know that's what happens. And you can't tell me that the mission president's wives don't have thoughts, feelings, and ideas when he shares some sort of trouble that's going on. And we all know he does. Like,
100%.
Hello. Anyways.
Yeah. I also, though, think that it's interesting throughout Mormonism that literally anybody, women included, can say, I felt prompted by the Spirit to do XYZ thing, or God revealed to me that I should blah, blah, blah. And that trumps everything else. So, It's always interesting whenever like two people's revelations are different. Like you've talked before about people saying that they had a revelation that you were supposed to be their wife.
Dude.
And you're like, I did not receive the same revelation, so goodbye.
Literally, the guy's face is in my mind right now because I
Yep.
was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, literally, you've got to be kidding. It is our second motherfucking date. I was like, no.
Absolutely
Which, by the
not,
way, can I just say, don't do that. If you are a missionary or just a young person watching this, like, don't do that. Okay, that's weird. You're weird. Stop it. Get some help.
Even if you do think that God told you should marry that person, it's probably best not to reveal that to anybody. Just keep that to yourself and see what develops in the relationship, okay?
That is what we call hormones.
That is what we call delusion. So I also want to point out too, here back in the Missionary Handbook, when somebody is made a leader, when a youth is made a leader in the mission, it is their job to correct other missionaries if they are doing something wrong. And then it gives this scripture reference because I am actually going to click on it. No power or influence can or ought to be maintained by virtue of the priesthood. Meaning, like, don't abuse your priesthood to get power and influence over people or to like wield it. And people do this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But it says only by persuasion, by long suffering, by gentleness and meekness, and by love unfeigned, by kindness and pure knowledge, which shall greatly enlarge the soul without hypocrisy and without guile. See, Kirsten, this is why I wrote in my journal the way that I did, because of this bullshit.
This is it. Scripture 43 or verse 43.
Reproving betimes or at times with sharpness. Like you're allowed to reprove with sharpness when you're moved upon by the Holy Ghost. And then showing forth afterwards an increase of love toward him whom thou hast reproved, lest he esteem thee to be his enemy.
Can I just say all of the middle fingers to that?
Yeah.
Or as I like to say, with all due disrespect, shut the fuck up.
Literally teaching people how to be narcissists.
Exactly,
right there.
Right.
You know, and how to perpetuate the cycle of abuse by saying, you know, I'm so sorry that I hit you. It was because you made me really angry. Or it was because you did XYZ thing that you're not supposed to do, and you know you're not supposed to do it. And so I was trying to impress upon you how important it is for you to keep that rule or that commandment. And I just love you so much. It's because I love you so much that I reproved you with sharpness.
I hate that so much because it's in scripture, and Mormons literally, specifically the Book of Mormon and Doctrine and Covenants, in my personal experience, they hold higher esteem over than the Bible. I dare any Mormon out there to say that I'm wrong, although they probably will, and they'd be lying. When they turn to scripture, the Book of Mormon and the Doctrine and Covenants are more important and more correct. That is a literal teaching that they're more correct than the Bible. And so having a scripture specifically in there saying those things, it's saying that God put his approval on it. And, you know, people might say, well, he didn't mean physical abuse. Who knows what he meant? Because it's scripture and it can be interpreted by the reader in any way, just like any other book.
Yep, exactly.
And it's used
to justify all kinds of bad behavior. So
correct. Yeah. Specifically because they hold the priesthood, which means women are less than.
Yep. 100%.
The end. Full stop. Women are less than. And it says right there in the scriptures that they can be reproved with sharpness and then an increase of love. And that is used over and over and over again.
Yep.
So
thanks. I hate it.
Thanks. I hate it too. Let's move on and talk more about the poor little missionaries that have to put up with all of this.
So I think this section on companions is pretty straightforward, but I think what's really funny is they list, here's your responsibility. Become united in the work, support each other's blah, blah, blah. Try to keep each other safe. You can try.
You can try, but I mean, look at Heretic. I mean, one of them, spoilers, One of them does not survive. Maybe both. Who really knows? The end is
Who really
very
knows?
ambiguous.
Yes,
But
it could be interpreted. And then companions are accountable to each other to keep missionary standards. In other words, meaning like make
tell on
sure
each
that your
other.
companion is keeping the rules. And yes, if they're not, tell on each other.
Avoid criticism and contention. Interesting. Try and tell an 18-year-old boy to not be critical of another
Right?
18-year-old boy. I said what I said.
Yeah. Yeah. Avoid speaking negatively about each other to other missionaries, church members, or family and friends at home. So, like, don't write home and say what a jerk your companion is.
Don't gossip is what it's saying, because they know that happens. But hello, you're putting children out there. Of course, they're going to gossip. This is an unobtainable goal for anyone that is between the age of 18 and 20. I said what I said. Female or male, there is no way that they can go for longer than 2 days talking ill about their companion.
Yeah. So I hate this part of the handbook where it says, if you notice any inappropriate situation or behavior, discuss it with your companion. Like, that's the first step. What if it is your companion? It says, if the matter's not resolved or your companion's being abusive, have the courage and love for your companion to ask your mission president for help. So it's like, go to your companion first and try to resolve it together. But if your companion is the problem, then you can go to the mission president. I'm like, no, there are some situations that you should just call 911. There are some situations that you should just go directly to a trusted adult.
They're never going to.
Like, no, they're not. And this is part of the brainwashing.
They're never going to.
Okay, here's where things start to get weird, Kirsten.
Just start to?
Yes. Section 2.2.2, staying together will help provide protection from physical and spiritual dangers, false accusations, and loneliness.
No, Megan, they don't need each other. The 3 Nephites will come.
Oh, right. Never be alone. Never, ever. You should be able to see and hear your companion at all times, unless you're in the bathroom, an interview with a mission leader, or conducting a baptismal interview.
I feel so bad for all the introvert missionaries. Can you imagine how hard that is for them?
Yep.
Oh, I would pretend I had diarrhea all the time if I had to.
Yep. Sleep in the same room, but not in the same bed. Obviously, for obvious reasons.
No. Well, I mean,
because you might turn into a homosexual. I also find it interesting that they have to say, do not create time to be alone. For example, do not stay up later or get up earlier than your companion. Or in one case, spend a lot of time in the bathroom by yourself.
All I'm saying is I would be like, I'm sorry, I have diarrhea.
100%. And I would also be like,
how do they know?
How are they going to know? Here's something interesting. When you're transferred, go directly to your new area to join your new companion, because this is a time when missionaries are somewhat alone. If they're transferring to an area that nobody else is being transferred to, it says go directly. Do not eat or drink anything you've left unattended while traveling.
What do they think is going to happen?
They say that because they think they're going to get drugged or something, right?
Oh my God.
When you travel, make sure your phone has sufficient battery life for the trip. If you're traveling alone for more than 3 hours, check in periodically with the mission office. Like, this is a time when missionaries could go missing. They could go do something that they're not supposed to. They could leave the mission if they wanted to. All I'm saying is if you're a missionary and you want to go home, when you get transferred, that might be a great time for you to just figure it out.
I also am curious how long these rules have been in the handbook. Were these retroactive? That's all I'm saying.
100% they were retroactive. 100%. Because they would not have wanted to give... They would not have wanted to give missionaries ideas about breaking the rules. Typical daily activities. Oh, I hate this scripture, but I'm going to read it. Yes. And if it so be that you should labor all your days in crying repentance unto this people, and bring, save it be, one soul unto me, how great shall be your joy with him in the kingdom of my Father. Like the song. Kirsten, did you hear the song playing in your head while I read it?
I did.
How great shall be your joy. Okay.
And so
Daily schedule.
labor. Sorry.
You're fine. Okay. Daily activities. Set and review personal companion and mission goals. Plan your schedule for the day. Prepare lessons. Study the scriptures. Preach my gospel. Teachings of the living prophets and apostles, not the dead ones. Don't study the teachings of the dead prophets.
Because that could get you into some troubled waters, guys.
It definitely
then you'd be like,
could.
Wait, Brigham Young said what?
Yeah. And other approved resources only. I know when my daughter went, they were only allowed to listen to music that was church music or the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. And her first mission president was really strict. Her second one was not as strict. But the first one would not allow them to listen to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir because they recorded such songs as Broadway musicals, Kirsten, which we all know are the devil's music.
Well, I mean, are they listening to like Chicago or Rent? Those have homosexuals in them.
Well, no, Kirsten, because the Mormon Tabernacle Choir would never record songs from such dirty musicals. But Kirsten, I do have to say, musicals are often performed by.
So I had a boyfriend on a mission, right? And we knew he could listen to cassette tapes. So we would record tapes for him. So it was like listening to a vlog, basically. Like we would take it with us when we did activities during the day and tell him about classes and stuff. Both of us would. So we knew he couldn't listen to secular music, right? This is so cringy. We would play it in the other room, so we knew it couldn't be picked up. And then we sang it karaoke style. So he wouldn't get in trouble. But if you listen to it like there was no backup music.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so embarrassed. But like when there was like musical interludes, we'd be like, da, 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 da.
That's really hilarious. And also, I hope that somewhere out there is still a cassette tape that exists of Kirsten singing karaoke style without a backtrack.
Megan, I'm talking, it was like 50 Cent in the club.
Wow, Kirsten.
We're like partying in the club. These two little BYU white girls.
Oh my goodness. I would literally pay money. If anybody has any of these cassette tapes that still exist, please email us. This is typical daily activities. Like these are the things you're allowed to do. You're allowed to set and review goals, plan your schedule, prepare lessons, study the scriptures, review one health or safety topic, or one of the safeguards for using technology. See section.
Like, make sure you know what computer technology websites are safe. You know, that's what they mean.
Yeah. Find people to teach, work with local leaders and members, serve others in planned or unplanned activities. I know the missionaries, like when they were over at our house all the time, they would be like, is there anything we can do to help you? Do you need some yard work done? Do you need some, they were always looking for anything to do except knocking doors.
I have a coworker that's a single mom, and she's like super Catholic, like Italian Catholic from the motherland, Italy, And she goes, the missionaries always come over. I guess the sister missionaries come over, and she's like, they always ask me what they can do, and I always have them help me clean my garage or organize my closet. And I was like, she's like, they don't need to know I don't want to be a Mormon. And it always cracks me up.
That's funny. Yes, please use the missionaries to do your chores, because they would rather be doing that than out knocking on doors and getting their doors shut in their face.
Right.
And then Kirsten, please note that it is acceptable to take care of personal needs such as eating and preparing for the day.
They're like, it's okay if you eat, just don't take too long to do it.
Yep. Here's a sample daily schedule, Kirsten. Begin the day at 6:30. From 6:30 to 10, pray, exercise, shower, eat breakfast, have personal study, and then plan. Personal study, 60 minutes.
Jesus, which is usually in the same room. Let's just be clear. It's not like you go to the kitchen and your companion goes to the bedroom, like you sit at the
Right.
same kitchen table for an
Yep.
hour and don't talk.
Right.
So
And then you're
just to
like,
be clear.
I am doing my personal study right now, and I would appreciate it if you wouldn't interrupt me. Okay. And then
Yeah.
Kirsten, look at this, from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., which is
Yeah.
11 hours. Find, teach, and serve others. Update digital or paper records throughout the day. Briefly review a health or safety topic. What? Like, hold companion study and prepare
Stupid.
lessons. Study additional materials for new missionaries during the first 12 weeks in the field. If learning a new language, study the language. You are encouraged to study English if you are a non-English speaker. Eat lunch and dinner, no more than 2 hours combined. So again, yes, eat, but don't take too long to do it. And then by 9 p.m., return to your housing unless you have a teaching appointment. If so, you can stay out till 9:30.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Then you can write in your journal, prepare for bed, and pray. And at 9:30, you go to bed.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Like that a schedule just makes me like, oh, it makes me
Yeah.
tired just reading it. Granted, I'm not 18 years old, but still,
Yep.
just like reading that, I'm like, can we not? Like, can we not?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And again,
hate
it
that.
goes on to say, avoid spending long periods of time in your apartment. So break up your planning and your studying activities so you're not just sitting in your apartment all day. And then you may leave and return to your apartment throughout the day to meet the needs of, your personal needs.
Whatever you need in case you have diarrhea.
Yeah. The schedule approved for your mission will allow time to work, rest, and refocus. It's important to get adequate rest and nutrition for your spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being, unless it interferes with teaching.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Then it tells you how to set goals. Then it tells you how to study. Then it tells you how to eat meals with others, which you would think that they wouldn't have to, but you know that there are missionaries out there who don't know how to have manners and stuff.
Well, that's one thing too. Like my dad said, he served in Germany, and he said part of the MTC, which is the Missionary Training Center that every missionary goes to, he said part of their learning was the customs of Germany. Like they did learn how to like eat meals and go into people's homes and things like that. So I kind of understand that, but also I'm with you. There are definitely some missionaries, I'm sure, that are stateside that don't know how to cut their meat. I said what I said. Go ahead.
Yep. And then it is important to point out another adult of your own gender should be present with you and your companion when you eat a meal with someone of the opposite gender. So,
such as blueberry pie.
Right. If you're eating blueberry pie, you really need to have an adult of your own gender.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where that rule comes from. So in other words, if two elders knocked on my door, I could not invite them in for a meal.
No. They could only stand on your doorstep, right? Unless like your son was home or something, right?
Right. Yes. If my son was home, then the four of us could eat a meal together.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Then P-Day activities or preparation day activities may include, but are not limited to, communicating with your family, mission president and friends, doing laundry, getting haircuts, and other personal grooming, Kirsten.
Do they mean Brazilian waxes?
That's what they mean.
I'm just curious.
Absolutely.
Asking for a friend.
I'm kidding. Cleaning, shopping, resting, and participating in approved recreational activities, which we will get to. Please note that all preparation day activities should be completed by 6 p.m. because from 6 to 9, you're supposed to be finding, serving, and teaching others.
So it's not a full day off, just to be crystal clear.
Yes, 100%. And you still have all of that planning and study to do in the morning. So you really only have, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to do everything you need to do for the entire week that's not related to teaching and serving other people.
That's bizarre. I mean, it's not bizarre. It's still like, what? Anyways.
Yeah. Then they talk specifically about the Sabbath day. You can attend church, general conference, state conference. It reminds you not to go without food except during the regular monthly fast. Do not sacrifice sleep in order to be a more dedicated missionary. Then it talks about serving in the community.
Serve with a sincere desire to help others without any expected outcomes. Megan, do you find that to be the norm with Mormons? Because
No,
I do not.
no. What I find to be the norm is that if a Mormon is doing something nice for you, it's because they hope that you're going to join the church.
Correct.
And if they know that you're not going to join the church, they probably aren't going to do anything nice for you.
Literally, in like the next sentence, if someone expresses interest in the message, reply very briefly and arrange to meet with them at a different time and location to share a message. So then it's like, okay, do this service project, but then also make sure you go a second time, because that's like doubling down and it's building that relationship. All of this is like salesman 101.
Yes, but also
Just
we
saying.
skipped over the most important part. Follow all service project rules, especially any about not teaching while serving and not serving where you would be alone with children.
They are so protecting themselves legally. Like, let's be honest.
Yes.
This is covering their butt because they know it's probably going to happen eventually. And if so, they want to make sure, well, we told them not to.
So they're going to put these behavioral rules under Christ-like qualities that you should seek to cultivate. So they want you to cultivate attributes such as faith, hope, charity, and love.
Be kind, positive, and uplifting.
Mm-hmm. Is it too late or early to contact this person? Would this inappropriately interrupt family or personal time? Is there a way I could be helpful in this situation? Could this action or comment embarrass, intimidate, or offend someone? If so, good. Just a kid.
You're not kidding. I mean, even the one that's like, will this interrupt family time? How many times have they knocked on the door during dinner time? I said what I said.
100%. Christ-like communication is welcoming, compassionate, global, adapting to meet the needs of the people and cultures in your mission. Straightforward, avoid unfamiliar terms and explain unique concepts. Honest and true. Okay. Show and talk about what it means to come unto Christ, but don't talk about polygamy.
Yep. Use real, relatable examples. I love that part too, because that's where it comes to the like making every single thing relate to Mormonism. Okay, the part where it says humble, this is the part that annoys the crap out of me. Acknowledge human failings, including our own, and the importance of repentance and growth. One thing I hate so much about the missionaries is when they try to chastise people, specifically investigators, for their lifestyle choices. Like they 100%. Tell them, oh, you're an unwed couple. Oh, you have same-sex attraction, because that's their favorite thing to say. And you have these literal children telling you how you should live your life. Oh, you have to quit smoking before you get baptized. And all these things, to me, that is so like holier than thou, and it drives me nuts. But here it is.
Yeah.
What I love, repentance and growth. But you might as well just say, make sure they know that they're doing wrong and we're right. If they want to be one of us, they have to change.
100%.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really loved was this mom who was sort of disaffected with the church at the time that her son was leaving for a mission. And she told him, go and serve people. You are not there to teach them. You are not better than they are. You are there to just be a humble servant, and you learn something from them. That's
how it should be. Yeah, that's how it should be. Like, you're going there to serve and learn from them. It should not be your own agenda. It shouldn't be the church's agenda. And yet, here we are.
Yep. So then it reminds you to stay temple worthy, and it reminds you of the temple covenants that you made before you went on your mission, because they all have to go through the temple.
A lot of them go through the temple right before they go on their mission too.
Some of them go like a week before they leave for the mission. And so a lot of them like go through the temple, then have all of these weird feelings about it, and then immediately have to leave their home. So,
and also then like deal with all those feelings and think you're going out and teaching this gospel, but yet you're still processing all of these huge things you just went through. And I think personally, tinfoil hat, that this might be like the beginning of their questioning of the church, but they don't even have time to process it, that they're like out there in the mission field. They don't even have time to think about it. They just know it's something they're supposed to do. But again, that's just my tinfoil hat opinion. To me, it makes sense. You know, you don't even have time to think about and process what you just went through, and you're just thrown in to this super controlling atmosphere that is shoving the temple covenants down your throat. So it's pretty easy to not really think about it cognitively, what you just went through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so adding on to the fact that your P day is the only day that you're allowed to go to the temple as well. So
yeah, which is like a good 2 hours at least, if not longer. Maybe do it while your laundry is drying or something.
Right. So, you know, they have to mention the temple covenants. One of those is the law of chastity. But again, Mormons are so obsessed with sex that they're going to have to mention it like in its own little subsection.
Correct.
Protect yourself from temptation. I hate that they have to point this out. Doing things that break the law of chastity may even be considered criminal in some areas. I'm not going to read this paragraph because it would get us totally demonetized. Yes, but everybody can see it. Why they have to be so freaking specific about everything. And then I have a genuine question, Kirsten. Yeah. It mentions viewing or using corn.
Yes.
Is there a different way to use corn than viewing it? I guess there could be an audiobook or something. I don't. Be especially careful of those who may demand financial payment in return for not revealing compromising or inappropriate images. I'm sorry. What?
Blackmail.
Yes, I know. But why do they have to put this in the Missionary Handbook?
Like we said, retroactively.
100%. This happened to somebody. And they had to put it in the handbook for legal reasons.
They had some like investigator that's like, send me a picture of your shoulders or other things. And they're like, okay.
Right. And also, Kirsten, I hate this. It says if you're struggling to keep these standards or if someone is threatening you, ask the Lord for help.
Oh my God.
Like, don't call the police if someone's threatening you. Don't involve the authorities. First, ask the Lord for help and then go to your mission president.
Call imaginary Sky Daddy and see if he can make the other person magically stop. That's what it's saying.
It basically, yes. I do remember specifically that talk where he was like, at some point, one might need to consider their own contribution to the situation. I'm like, I'm sorry. I beg your finest pardon. No.
Also, I mean, going along with that, if you're a missionary and your mission president is older, which we all know they are, you can't tell me there's not mission presidents that use that exact verbiage or play that clip for these missionaries.
Yep.
That are like, I understand this is hard, but what was your role in it? Like, honestly. They've got to 100%. Say, if you were following the standards, you wouldn't have gotten to this point. Like, honestly, I guarantee you. Yes.
Yep.
Very much so.
Very victim blamey. I hate all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's important to be honest, especially telling your truth to the mission president regarding your conduct, testimony, work habits, and emotional and physical health.
I love that they include testimony in there. So if they're like, if you're having any doubts, make sure to tell someone so they can tell you you're wrong and tell you all the reasons why you're wrong and you should stay in the mission field.
Yep.
That's what that means.
100%. And you know that they have to put this phrase in here about giving accurate reports of your work because you know missionaries have lied about how many contacts they've made in order to make their numbers so they don't get in trouble. And then I hate that you have to put this in here, respecting others by not borrowing, taking, or using their personal items without permission.
Because that probably happens all of the time.
All the time.
Also, I just want our viewers to know, in case you don't, I know that many members of the church know this and ex-members of the church. The missions keep numbers and records of numbers, like very much to the T, and they are competitive about it. They report those numbers to church headquarters. They are. Missionaries are competitive about how many people they've talked to, how many baptisms, their percentages. Like they very much run it like KPIs of any sort of
Yes,
business.
exactly. And you remember that app that I was showing you earlier? That just keeps real-time track of how many doors they've knocked, how many contacts they've made, how many appointments they have. Like it's there in real time. And if somebody wanted to
Yeah.
go and check, they could just look it up on the app and they could go to that person's house and they could be like, "Hey, did you meet with the missionaries the other day?" So they're just like checking up on
Yep.
making sure that they're actually doing what they said they were doing. So
Yep.
then it goes to general standards for interacting with adults. Stay with your companion. Don't counsel adults about personal problems. Avoid situations that become physically or spiritually dangerous or that could be misunderstood. I love this. Don't flirt or associate inappropriately with anyone. Limit physical contact with some of the opposite gender to a handshake. They're also not allowed to call each other by their first names. They are to
Yes.
refer to each other as elder and sister.
Yeah. And it's so funny to see them when they see their companions outside the mission and like introduce their first names and they're like, oh, like they still act like it's totally weird. It cracks me up.
Yeah, we used to have missionaries here too who would like if they had their names engraved on their scriptures, they would try to cover up their first names so you wouldn't know it because it was they didn't want to be called by their first name and it was sort of like
So
taboo.
weird.
Yeah.
You're right.
Always stay with your companion. Never be alone with anyone younger than age 18. This is all retroactive.
Oh, yeah.
Ensure another adult is present. Be cautious about playing with groups of children, such as joining a soccer or other game. Do not do anything where your actions might be misinterpreted.
Jesus.
Get permission to interact with a child. Do not tickle children, change diapers, hold or hug children, or allow children to sit on your lap. Yes, thank you.
Could this just be a rule for everybody?
Just everybody.
I mean, it seems like it should be,
100%.
but
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways.
Politely decline to babysit children of any age. Avoid teaching, leading, or attending classes for children. Also avoid teaching, leading, or attending classes for youth without another adult of your same gender present.
Because as we know, if you're the same gender, then that person won't be a weirdo either and enable you. Oh, wait.
If you're not too busy during your 6 hours of time that you're allowed to do personal things, you
like
may
laundry.
Right. You may visit historical and cultural sites, museums and galleries, or zoos and parks.
That is all.
That's all. Avoid gathering as large groups of missionaries in public places. That will draw unnecessary attention to you. It'll make people feel intimidated, like there's a gang of missionaries. Just kidding.
Okay. So, there are times when missionaries are put in danger. And like Megan was saying, don't congregate because who knows what's going to happen if you piss off the wrong person. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's a safety issue.
Okay.
I really hate all of this so much.
Me too. Yeah. These poor kids.
I know.
As a mother, how can you not look at this and think of your child? Well, Megan, you've been through it. Yeah. But I just keep thinking of my kids that are truly within that age range or getting there. Yeah. And I'm just like, how could I put my children in this sort of horrifically awful, like everything I know, abusive situation. Yep. That's what it is. I can't even imagine. I'm so glad I'm not in the church because, oh my God, my poor children.
I know.
Anyways.
I think it's really funny that they have to put in there to use mission vehicles only for activities that are auzed by your mission president, because I'm just imagining some missionaries like drag racing. Exactly. Or like they have like a little Uber Eats business on the side.
Doing DoorDash on P days to get some extra cash.
Hey, that would be a great way to meet contacts. You could be DoorDash. And do you have a moment to listen to a message about our Lord and Savior?
Okay.
Unauthorized activities, Kirsten. Some missionaries have been seriously injured while participating in risky activities.
Like swimming, because Satan controls the water.
That is correct. It was, yes, never allowed to swim. Contact, gymnastic, winter, and water sports, including swimming. Kirsten, winter sports, so no luge, no curling, specifically, no ski jumping.
Nope, none of it.
Mountain
None of it.
climbing, riding on motorcycles and horses, but not burros. You can ride on
And
burros.
not tapers.
Aw, my little tapir.
I love it.
Do not ride in private boats or airplanes, but public boats or airplanes are fine.
What about the general authorities' private planes? Yes, they exist. And also they are set up as a house of worship because then it is tax-free because they pray on them.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Handling firearms, using fireworks or explosives of any kind, including C4, but not limited to.
Oh. Are you allowed to say that on here? We're going to get demonetized.
I don't think there's a restriction on that. In fact, I can attest to the fact that their restrictions on all of that are less than they are on the other things we talk about.
I remember when we got that
Should we watch the video? Look at how terribly sad his face is.
I mean, it's 16 minutes, but at least let's go see what happens.
Let's watch a little bit of it.
At least.
Welcome to the Safety Zone, the only show dedicated to keeping our missionaries safe, healthy, and secure through video replay and analysis.
This is so cringy. I'm not going to make it.
This is the health and safety training video for Wendy's.
Maybe should we do this as a members only live where we watch this together and talk about it? Let's do that.
I think so.
I know the handbook discourages playing full court basketball, and keeping this half court games 3-on-3 or 2-on-2 makes for a friendlier, less competitive game.
Chief.
Like I said, it's in the handbook, Jerem.
Right. You mean the part where it says the purpose of physical activities to keep your body fit for missionary work? It also says to avoid competitive games and extreme fatigue.
That's right. A good-natured game. Everyone's participating. I don't even think they're keeping score.
Right you are, Vivian.
All right, let's save the rest of this for members only live. So obviously there's going to be rules and guidelines around what media they're allowed to consume. They are allowed to use social media now, and they're allowed to lure people on Facebook Marketplace by offering to give away free Book of Mormon. So
that is 100% correct. I think people even have told us that in our comments on past videos. So if you have a story about seeing it or being tricked into it, please leave it in the comments because I would love to hear your experience.
Did you hear the thunder, Kirsten?
No, God is angry at you, Megan, for talking about this because fools mock Megan.
That's right. Avoid television, movies, video games, and unauthorized videos.
You can watch videos such as the mailbox.
Authorized videos only. That's right.
Yep.
Only choose material that will increase your faith in Jesus Christ, not decrease it.
Right.
So this show is off limits to missionaries. But if you're watching, we're glad you're here.
Welcome. I have a question. Do you think Saturday's Warrior is authorized or is it now unauthorized because they found so many inaccuracies in it?
I'm fairly certain it's unauthorized because it's not official doctrine. And also they have people portraying naughty activities like drinking and
smoking.
If it's approved by your mission president, you may bring a musical instrument. Oh man, this is one of those things that I hate because it makes me think about all of the missionaries who are super talented or they have impending sports contracts or whatever, and they have to leave all that behind and they're not allowed to practice or whatever. When taking photos or videos, be careful not to embarrass anyone, including other missionaries and people who struggle with economic, social, or physical challenge. And then they have to remind the missionaries that it might be offensive or illegal in some cultures to take pictures of certain things.
Correct. Yeah.
Also, don't record anything we say. Sorry.
Or do.
Don't record pictures or videos in meeting house chapels or sacred ordinances, including the sacrament, baptisms, and confirmations.
I think that's very interesting. This is like the one we saw about the temple with the guy on the computer. This has got to be the same artist because that definitely looks like them. What is going on with the shoes? I don't understand.
This will be another one that we'll have to watch on a members only, I'm guessing. We watched a little Mormon video when we were talking about the temple and the covenant path, and it showed a guy on a computer doing family history work. I fixed it.
There we go. That's a missionary.
Technology can be a useful tool, much like your dad. Sorry.
No, you're not.
You're right. I'm not sorry. All right. Yes, this is where they give you the rules where you have to limit your communication to emails or letters. Don't communicate with them by phone or chat unless it's approved. Prioritize your time by communicating with your parents first and your mission president second, and then everybody else.
If you get to it.
Yeah, you can read communications you receive during the week whenever you have appropriate time to do so. However, you should reply to communications only on preparation day unless it's an emergency.
And if it's an emergency, you have to get it pre-approved.
Yes,
they don't say that, but that's true.
Pre-approved emergencies only.
Yep.
Same basically about communicating with family. Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays. They've added a lot to it now.
Yeah, they have. Your parents or siblings' birthdays. I never got a call on my birthday.
Yeah. And here's what I hate, Kirsten. You should initiate all text message conversations, online messaging, phone calls, and video chats. If your family needs to contact you, they should contact the mission president first. My daughter's second mission president was a very kind and loving person. And when my daughter was struggling with her mental health, he did allow me to, communicate with her directly. And
that is really nice.
Did that. Yeah. Because she was talking about wanting to come home and then feeling super guilty because she wanted to come home and then thinking like I should just push myself and stay. And so she did that for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And I was like, stop. If you need to come home, just come home. So finally, the mission president let me have that conversation with her and basically say, it's not healthy for you to continue to force yourself to be there when it's so detrimental to your mental health. Like you just need to come home. And I said the same thing to the mission president. I was like, she wants to serve, but she's not able to right now. She's literally not physically able to serve because her mental health is so bad. And he agreed with me and he allowed her to come home and she was honorably discharged, however you say that. Like she got an honorable release from her mission instead of like being shamed for going home early, which I really appreciated. So then it goes on to talk about communicating with the mission president. You're supposed to write a letter to your mission president weekly using the missionary portal so that they can keep a record of it at all times. And then it tells you that the mission president will probably read but not respond to every letter, but he definitely will respond if you're expressing like doubts of your faith or any of that kind of stuff.
I also want to say this missionary portal was also probably set up for legality reasons. So they have a record. If someone's like, I told my mission president more than once, they can say, yes, they did or no, they didn't.
100%.
And cover their ass or delete it. Like, who knows? Who knows what that missionary portal is actually used? But anyways.
Oh, also, yes, if I wanted to ever send anything to my daughter, I had to send the packages and the letters to the mission office. I was not allowed to send them directly to her apartment where she lived. But I can tell you 100%, I did not keep this rule because there were many times when I would order something on Amazon that she needed and I would have it sent to her apartment. And it's basically just a control issue. Like they're trying to make sure that some parents are not sending like, I don't know, bougie comforters or like, you know what I mean? Like they don't
cell phone, like in prison.
Yes, they don't want, but they don't want missionaries receiving stuff that is like, I don't know. Like I just know there have been problems with some parents who are wealthy sending lots of stuff to their missionary and then other missionaries aren't getting things like that and they feel bad. It's like, I don't know. They're just, again, it's just another way of controlling what happens on the mission.
missionary experiences with people from home. This is crazy.
They're basically saying, like, I have this friend at home who's going through the same experience as this person that I'm teaching, so I'm going to have them Zoom in or use FaceTime or whatever to share their experience. But it has to be approved by the mission president. And then it says, if your family or friends from home want to learn more about the gospel, your mission president may allow you to teach them using technology, which is a brand new thing. Like, they did not used to do that before.
Right. It's insane. It's like having them dial in on a Zoom call or podcast or something.
Crazy. Yeah. So I have a niece who's serving a mission in Houston right now. It's generally frowned upon for family members to go visit on missions, but you can get approval for that. And it has been a tradition in Mormonism for parents to go pick up their child from the mission. So like like a week before they get released, meet the people, see the culture, blah, 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 whatever. I wasn't rich, so I did not do that.
It's bizarre.
What I hate about the emergency part is that your mission leader will contact your family if you have an emergency, not you. You're not the one who's allowed to contact them.
Right.
I hate that.
Which is insane. And this also goes to, like, if you have something that's going on at home, such as your parent is passing away. I did a whole, short on it. I don't want to get into it because it makes me really emotional to think about it. But there are missionaries encouraged not to go home for the funeral because it would make you too sad and you need to focus on mission work.
Exactly. Like, your parent is gone. They're watching you from heaven. They're going to understand if you stay on the mission instead of going to their funeral service, which I've always said, not always, but like, I know this to be true. The funeral service is not for the dead person. It is for the living person. It is part of the mourning process. Yeah. And, you don't have to go to a funeral service in order to do that mourning, but there are very few 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds who are emotionally healthy enough to be able to process the death of a parent without that family support. So this is the last section we're going to go through. It's like,
there are more sections, to be clear. These are just the ones to touch on. Yeah.
These are the ones about, the main rules. The other sections are about like other stuff, which you can go look it up on churchofjesuschrist.org.
Right. Which keeps changing their logo now to make sure that John DeLynn doesn't take any of the colors they feel like using.
Right. It's so stupid.
Anyways.
All right. Physical and emotional commitment. They talk about, I'm glad that this
proper
is like
hydration.
This is the only thing it says about nutrition. Drink water and eat good food.
Do it. Don't go to Taco Bell.
Eat balanced meals that include vegetables, fruits, grains, healthy fats, the bird, the bear, the ox. Just kidding.
I was going to say, why'd you do the temple voice? Got to the temple.
Because this reminded me of them listing all the things that got created.
Limit junk food, carbonated drinks.
Yeah, leave your swig habit at home, mister.
Or Monster energy drinks. Right. Good luck to you.
Here's a quick primer on safe food preparation. Keeping your meat and seafood separate.
Refrigerate leftovers and foods that will spoil. This is for, literally, they put this in because these are for children that have never lived away from home.
Exactly.
And don't know.
Yeah, some parents have not taught their children about safe food preparation. I love the guideline about avoiding eating foods from street vendors because that's retroactive as well.
100%. They're like in Mexico eating mystery meat.
Oh, there's another video we get to watch, Kirsten, with missionaries preparing spinach and tomatoes. And is that pineapple? I don't know.
Yes, or cheeses. I don't know. It's yellow.
Be aware that in some locations, ice cubes and soft drinks at restaurants or markets may be made from unpurified water.
Yeah.
Exercise, different kinds of exercise, but not at a public or commercial gym.
Mm-mm.
They might see your garmies.
Also, avoid lifting heavy weights. Just to be clear.
For your own safety.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a girl.
Okay, if you can't exercise at public or commercial gyms, where the hell are you getting weights from? Are you taking them every time you get transferred?
Yes, you brought them on your
Asking
mission with
for a
you
friend.
because that's how much of a
Asking for a friend.
I don't think
management.
I don't think they're qualified to teach how to deal with stress management because they're literally putting you under the most extreme amount of stress possible.
It's
Where
so
you
stupid.
can't-
Look,
You can't take advantage of family support. You
they
can't
won't let
eat
you.
healthy
Yeah.
if you don't have enough food. You don't have enough time to exercise regularly. You can't get enough sleep. You can't relax because you're out teaching all the time. Good Lord.
Megan, they're missing one that's very important.
What's that?
Drink enough water. Because
Oh,
isn't just hydrate, exercise, and healthy eating all that you need to be healthy and happy in your life? Follow the word of wisdom. That's literally what they should have put. Stress management. Follow the word of wisdom.
That's right.
So
thought you were
freaking
gonna say
stupid.
self-pleasure.
That too can help with stress management. That's probably why they need a section on it, because that's not on there.
At some point, Kirsten, we're going to have to read the resource booklet, Adjusting to Missionary Life.
Oh my gosh. I was
Look at
going to
all
say, I thought you were going to say sometime we need to do a full episode on the little factory talk, but that's another
Yes, we
thing.
do. We actually do. Yep.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. This is so toxic positivity at the max. Like, if you're having stress, drink some water, go for a walk with your companion. And while you're out there, also knock on some doors. Like, that's what it's saying.
Yes.
So freaking stupid.
Also, if you're stressed out, I'm going to use my general conference voice for a second. The Apostle Paul reflected on his missionary efforts and taught that the Lord will sustain, support, and help those who seek him. The Lord will never abandon you.
You went through that way too fast. The Lord will never abandon you.
Good note. Good note. Thank you. I'll remember that for the future. So I just want to note that there is more scripture quoting in this section about stress than there is suggestions on how to deal with stress.
I also want to say that when you come to your mission president saying you have like depression or stress or you're having an issue, blah, 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 sometimes they will send you to a therapist, but it's one of the Mormon approved therapists, AKA someone like Jody Hildebrandt. I really want to say that. And if anybody knows anything that's going on with her, we're not going to talk about it here. Just know.
Let's just put it that way.
She's in prison. Yeah. That is not a healthy person to advise anyone on what to do in this situation. So anyways, enough said. Medical care.
Take care of your medical issues, take your medicine, but don't share it. Basically, if you have a health emergency, tell your mission president.
And they might take you to the hospital. They might not. How many times have you heard stories, Megan, where they're like, it's not that bad. You're fine. Your insurance won't cover it, or the church's insurance won't cover it. That's also a thing.
They're supposed to be covered by church insurance while they're on the mission. So again, non-emergency visits should be approved in advance by the medical coordinator. You can't get any care unless it's approved.
Yep. And let's just say $300 billion church, I think they could pay for whatever medical care you need whenever you need it. I said what I said.
Yep.
Anyways.
Leave immediately if you feel uncomfortable about a location, person, or situation, including a teaching situation involving blueberry pie and doors that don't open.
And only if your companion agrees, because if your companion wants to stay and you want to leave, guess what? You're staying.
Well, it says
you may your companion.
It says you may leave your companion if you feel he or she may be a danger to you. If you leave your companion, call either of your mission leaders immediately. So
nobody's going to do that. Like, we know that nobody's going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe someone who has really good sense, but in my opinion, just from stories I've heard and such, I just don't think that is a situation where they would do it. They would be like, well, my companion feels okay. I must be overreacting or something like that. You know,
exactly. Especially if it's the senior companion who wants to stay and the junior companion who wants to leave.
100%.
We do not have enough time in this episode to talk about the deplorable housing situation in many of
Oh,
the
yeah.
missions in the world, but including some in the United States. And I can say,
Yes.
like, for our own mission, the San Antonio mission, the church generally will sign a very long lease on an apartment, and missionaries will cycle in and out of there. And even though they
Yep.
have standards of cleaning and stuff when you go on a transfer or whatever, I can say from personal firsthand experience, most of the apartments are in dangerous areas. They are dilapidated, and the standards of cleaning and
Yes.
care for the housing situation are not upheld in a lot of the situations. So
100%.
always follow the traffic rules.
Okay.
Good. Good. Thanks so much. Yeah. Look at how much is on money, Kirsten. The funds are
Interesting.
sacred.
Use the responsibility. You know what? That sounds a little bit like the pot calling the kettle black. Church.
Also, Kirsten, tell me how much you hate this.
I
Of
hate
the
it.
little money that they get every month, they're allowed to make fast offerings, which are basically like the donations for poor people, which the missionaries are the poor people. We've already talked a lot about sending, personal funds to missionaries,
bicycle
traffic
purchase. Oh, yeah. I forgot. They had to pay for their own bikes. I forgot that. Yeah.
And maintenance and repairs. So if you get a flat tire, you don't have any money. Tough.
Yep. Good luck to you. Call your parents in an approved time.
I love that they have to mention this: income from a business or investments at home. Oh my God. And I love that this is like so crazy that they say this. Become self-reliant during your mission by creating and following a spending plan. They're literally teaching you not to be self-reliant and making it impossible for you to be, because there's no way you can be self-reliant on the budget that they're giving you. It's freaking. So I'm not going to get super into the dress and appearance thing, because I feel like most people know missionaries are supposed to have short haircuts. They're not supposed to have facial hair. They're supposed to dress modestly. Although nowadays the women are allowed to wear pants.
I know, that was crazy when that came out, because even when I was at BYU, this is, again, I think just my bishop thing. He wanted, if you were in leadership, so like the Relief Society presidency that I was in, if you wore a knee-length skirt, you had to wear tights. And that was just like a him thing, because that was the same as the missionary dress code. So the fact that they can wear pants now, I'll be honest, like completely blows my mind. But
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I also love that they have to be told to wash their hands after using the toilet.
Those are sacred hands, Megan. You've got to do the handshakes.
That's right.
Wear
sunscreen. Yep, wear sunscreen. I also love this comment about the haircut. Choose a neat professional hairstyle that is easy to maintain and does not draw attention.
Whoopsies.
If you decide to color your hair, consider the time, cost, and impact on your missionary activities. In other words, you don't have time to maintain your roots. Kristen, did you know that for sisters, nail polish and makeup are options?
Yes. Yeah,
This
I've
is
heard
an
that.
option.
But is it? Because sometimes they're like, maybe a little paint on the barn door would look nice. That was also a general conference talk for those who don't know. It was like, ladies, put on a little lipstick for your husbands. Even a barn door looks better with a fresh coat of paint.
I feel like there's definitely an overemphasis on like women's grooming and appearance, like being, I don't know, like more important than what they talk about. Yes, pretty.
Yeah, they want you to be pretty.
I don't know. They do like touch on clean shaven and haircuts for boys, but I just feel like they focus on it way more for girls. And I feel like they've tried to like dumb it down a little bit here. So you're like, yeah, they're talking to everyone except for the makeup and nail polish part.
Right. Which should be subtle in color and style. No blue eyeshadow for you.
That's right. So there are two more sections to the handbook that we didn't go over: priesthood authority and ordinances, and completion of your mission, which don't really have anything to do with the mission rules. And that's mainly what I wanted to talk about today, because I think, we've talked about it generally before, but for people to actually see the handbook that the missionaries have to carry around with them, and to also the revelation about them using an app that the church has developed to keep track of all the people they talk to is super creepy and weird. So
Yeah.
the thing is, like, this is what I've always said on, on my channel, and for me, personally, from my position, I like to be kind to the missionaries because I recognize they're in a super tough, super horrible situation. And I don't want to be yet another person who's like, don't talk to me. Of course, I don't want to hear their message, but I'm always going to offer them food and water. I'm always going to offer them a safe place to hang out if they need to. And I'm always going to say, like, hey, if you need anything, if you need me to contact family, parents, whatever, like, please, I'm here as a resource for you. That's basically what I've said. When the Church of J calls my phone.
I'm going to link the video in the description of when they called Megan, because for one, it's just funny, the whole circumstance. But for two, you can see that Megan is not just saying these things to make herself look good on the internet. She actually said all of these things to the missionaries on the phone. If you need anything, thank you so much. Like, she was very sweet to them. So if nothing else, you can watch it to give an example of a polite and kind way you can speak to the missionaries while also being firm that you don't want to hear the message.
Yes. I said to them, yes, we'll link it. I said to them, I haven't been to church in a long time. I don't anticipating ever returning to church. So don't waste your time, basically. But yes, if you need anything, I'm here. And also, just like, having been the mom of a missionary, I just know the struggles on a real level. And I feel so much compassion for all of the missionaries. When my daughter went out on her mission, it was right after they lowered the missionary age. And it was the time in the church where they had more missionaries out than at any other time in history, I think before or since. There were 28,000 missionaries out at the time. I don't know what the statistics are. In fact, nobody does now because they don't report them accurately. But I remember changing my Facebook profile picture to the little logo that they posted on whatever social media that said something like 28,000 missionaries out, and one of them is mine, or something like that. Because I was really proud of my daughter for serving a mission. And I was really proud of her for, like, making the commitment to do that, because I knew how hard it was going to be for her. And also, I do have to say, like, I was relieved as a Mormon mom to get my daughter out on a mission. And it was super hard circumstances, like actually dropping her off at the ATM, at the MTC. My sister lives in Provo. And so we went to see my sister, the week before I dropped her off at the MTC. There was a lot of fighting and arguing. It was like a very hard circumstance. She really didn't want to go. I was afraid that she was going to, like, sneak her cell phone in with her and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And when we finally dropped her off at the curb, like, I just broke down. I just wept like an hour, because number one, I was so relieved that she finally decided to, go through with it. We were like there, and she was saying, I'm not sure. I was like, just go. So I was relieved, but I was also incredibly sad because I knew that it was going to be really hard for her. And I think I've said this to people before. For me personally, the hardest thing about being a parent is watching your child go through a really difficult time and not being able to do anything to protect them from it or to save them from it, or also not wanting to protect them from consequences or whatever if it's their own doing. That's just been the hardest thing for me as a mom. So I feel a lot of compassion for all the parents out there who send their kids off on the mission and then, can't really help them in all the ways that you want to. So that's all.
Yeah. I think for me right now, I think just because my kids are so close to that age, I just feel so badly that I want to protect every single missionary that's out there. If you've watched any of our other episodes, I've talked about when I saw the missionaries on the street, we were driving past and my kids were like, what do we say to the missionaries? And I started to say, like, oh, you can say hi. Do you need some water? And my son yells, we say, we hate Jesus. And I was like, no, we don't say that. I told them that we do not yell at them, we hate Jesus. We offer them water and we tell them, no,
Yes.
thank you. But, if you need help or food, we're here.
Yes.
But now, I don't see the missionaries very often because of my cease and desist letter. But when I do see them, even my husband and I will be out and about. I've seen them at parks and things like that. And I don't approach them. But if they do ever approach me, I do just want to have that compassion for them, because I can't emphasize this enough. They are just so dang young. These are just babies. And when they said they lowered the age, for women even further, 18, it just gave me a gut punch. Like, I want to take all of these babies and be like, you don't have to do this. Please go do what you want. Go to trade school or college or get an apartment. Do whatever you want. Like, just take care of yourself. And I wish I could just gather all of them up like little chickens and tell them it's okay to not want to be on a mission.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, I do have to say, Kirsten, if they had lowered the age to 18 when I was that age, I would have gone on a mission 100%. Like, that was my plan. My plan was to go on a mission. And then, life happened to me. But at the time, thinking of myself as an 18-year-old, I knew nothing. I was so naive and so dumb about the world. I can't remember who I was talking to, but we were having a conversation about times that I almost died and I probably shouldn't still be alive. If I had gone on a mission at the age of 18, I could have been subjected to any number of horrific, horrible situations, and I would not have known what to do. I was not, as a young woman growing up in Mormonism, I was horrifically unaware of what the real world is like. I was sheltered to a degree that is not safe or healthy. And I had also been traumatized. And I would argue, Lindsay Hansen Park said this, we are a traumatized people.
Yes.
And we are uniquely situated as women in Mormonism to be victims. Because we subjugate ourselves to male authority, blah, 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 all that stuff. And so I just think, Mormon women going out at the age of 18 to serve a mission, especially if they're in a foreign country, it's just so freaking dangerous. And I know when the movie Heretic came out, there were a lot of faithful people who were angry because they were like, why would you want to put bad ideas into the minds of, people who are going to harm, this movie is going to end up harming more missionaries. They're already in a horrifically harmful situation. They're already in danger. So,
I said that as soon as it came out. The first time I heard that from a coworker who's LDS, I said, this is already happening. And if you think it's not, then you've got your head so deeply in the sand, you're choosing to ignore it.
Okay, and maybe not to the extreme of that, but bad enough. You know what I mean? Like Mormon women who go out on, and we just say like they're teenagers. Mormon teenagers going out on missions in a pair of two girls. I'm sorry, that doesn't, like, keeping them in a pair of two. That's not keeping them safe. That's like two for the price of one.
Oh my God! But Megan, don't you know they're going to be okay because the three Nephites will come and help them.
They are not okay. The three Nephites are busy changing the tires of men and rescuing men from the sides of roads. Okay.
And they're immortal. They're not everywhere all at once.
They can't be. Yes, they can't be everywhere.
They can't split their spirit.
No, they can't.
Okay, you know what? This has gone on for a very long time. I think that is the perfect way to end this, guys. Oh my God.
Please spread the word. Help other people understand that Mormon missionaries, like when they knock on your door, I know it's annoying. Trust me. I don't want to open my door for people knocking on my door either. But these teenagers are not okay. And they need as much kindness as they possibly can get. So.
And also, yes, they can be annoying. And yes, they probably often seem uneducated, especially if you're coming to our channel or other ex-Mormon channels that are spreading the truth. and are talking about history and facts. They don't know that stuff. If they did, they wouldn't be on the mission. You know, I said what I said.
No.
So, you know, please don't start debates with them. I know those can be entertaining and posted up on the social medias and such. But end of the day, just remember these are kids that don't know, and it's probably more of a form of humiliation than a true debate.
Yes,
And I don't know. That's my own personal taking of it. There are some people that cannot be reasoned with, and when you're on a mission in a cult within a cult, there's no point in having those conversations. You know, there might be a point in that you might change someone's mind or put a question in it, but even then that could send them down a deconstruction spiral that will put their mental health into question, you know, or in a dangerous place.
Yes, at a time when they don't have the resources that they need when you're going through a faith crisis. And also, like, if you are proud of the fact that you have humiliated a brainwashed person, that's basically like saying, I won an argument with a disabled person, you know? Like,
yeah, right. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. I agree with that. So thank you guys for being here. We would like to do a live after this, but if it's gone on this long, who knows if we're going to be too tired. I'll be honest with you. Please like this video if you've gotten anything out of it that you find helpful. Please subscribe. It's free. All it does is make us feel really good and feel like maybe you're enjoying the content that we're making. We hope you'll join us more often. Share it if you think there's someone in your life that needs to hear this information or perhaps would enjoy it.
And don't forget, every Monday night we are live with Family Night. Kirsten makes a wonderful recipe for a treat. Join us. It'll be fun. Let's hang out.
We'll see you then.
It's wrong to criticize leaders of the church, even if the criticism is true.